This Week in College Football is brought to you by Snickers, Coca-Cola, Nissan, Dove Men Plus Care, and Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Which other we go for the top 25, presented by Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies. The top 5 looking like everything got shaken. Ohio State still at number 1. Behind them at number 2 is undefeated Georgia Tech. Then Texas at number 3. And Illinois, number 4, 10-0. Notre Dame falls down to number 5 after their loss to Navy. That's their first loss on the season. Appalachian State up to number 6, they're still undefeated. Kansas State back up at number 7, they're 8-2. Penn State 7-2, they're number 8. North Carolina, the only 3-loss team in the top 10, they're at number 9. Tennessee falls down 4 spots after the blowout loss to LSU, they ran up the top 10. There's LSU, they're at number 11, they're 8-1. 6-3 Auburn down 7 spots after a blowout loss to Texas A&M, they're at number 12. Then a couple teams that didn't move. Utah, number 13, 9-0. 5-4 Florida, they're number 14. Missouri at 7-2, they're number 15. Navy, 10-0, undefeated, just knocked off Notre Dame, they're number 16. Louisiana, 8-1, they're number 17. Georgia had a lot of expectations coming in the year. They're currently 5-4 at number 18. Nebraska at number 19, they're 7-3 after the loss to Ohio State. Michigan State rounds to the top 20 at 7-2. Texas Tech also 7-2, they're at number 21. Wake Forest suffers their first loss of the year, they're at number 22, they're down a spot. San Jose State, the other 10-0 team in the polls, they're number 23. UCLA 7-2 after the bye week, they're up 1 spot. And Air Force, new to the polls this week, they're at number 25, 7-2. College Hoops is back on ESPN, and it's the State Farm Champions Classic, live from Madison Square Garden. Tuesday night, Oshiabaji leads the number 3 Kansas Jayhawks to take on the number 7th ranked Michigan State Spartans. It tips off at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, live from Madison Square Garden on ESPN on Tuesday night. Now, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Hey, what's wrong?
Nothing.
Life's full of hidden problems. So we hid a comforting brownie in a Snickers.
Welcome back. And now we have the top 25 by conference, presented by Coca-Cola. Together, taste better. Navy, the lone representative out of the American. The ACC with Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Wake Forest. Big Ten got Ohio State, Illinois, Penn State, Nebraska, Michigan State. Big 12 with Texas, Kansas State, and Texas Tech. Conference USA got nobody. The Independents down to Notre Dame once again. MAC with nobody. Mountain West back up with 2. They got San Jose State and Air Force ranked for the first time since 2019. Pac-12, Utah and UCLA, and the SEC, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, Florida, Missouri, Georgia, and the Sun Belt has Appalachian State and Louisiana. Final numbers: 1 for the American and the Independents, 0 for the Conference USA and the MAC. Pac-12 and Sun Belt and the Mountain West all have 2. ACC and Big 12 with 3, and the SEC with 6. That brings us to the top 25 dropouts for the week, presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Liberty, the only dropout. They just made it into the polls, then they lose 27-14 to Ole Miss in Oxford. They're down to 9-1. They can make it back in the polls if they get back to winning. But that leads us into the outside looking in, presented by Dove Men Plus Care. Be comfortable in your own skin. There's Liberty, top of the list, 9-1. Following them is a slew of teams that could be in if they had a higher percentage schedule. Rice, 7-2. Kentucky, 7-2. Tulane, 8-2. Fresno State, 7-3. So many different teams that could all be in the polls, and we might see them in the polls later in the year. We got a few weeks left. Will they make it? That remains to be seen. And that leads us to the big games of the week, presented by Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville, at noon Eastern on Saturday. It's not a big game in terms of record, it's a big game in terms of history. Alabama, if they lose to New Mexico State at noon on the SEC network, they will be 0-10 for the first time since 1955. That's the last time Alabama went winless. Then at 3:30 on ABC, a much higher game in terms of stakes. Purdue, the giant killer who's knocked off ranked Iowa in a blowout and number 18 Michigan State last week in a blowout. They take on number 1 Ohio State in Columbus. Can they upset the Buckeyes? We will find out. Kansas and number 3 Texas kick off the night slate 7:30 on ESPNU, but also at 7:30 on ABC. It's ESPN Saturday Night Football. Number 5 Notre Dame coming off their first loss of the year, taking on the Who's in Charlottesville, the Virginia Cavaliers. Fowler and Herbstreit will be on the call, but it all starts at 9 Eastern from Champaign, Illinois for the first time ever. It's ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Thank you for tuning into this week in college football. We hope you enjoyed this week of college football action.